Board. All right, we will go ahead and call this quarterly meeting of the ABLE Plan Review Committee to order. Welcome, everybody. We do have one new individual from the census side. So Dave, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and introducing Khalil, who's filling in for Molly for this meeting.
Yeah, Khalil actually, is the point person for the entire alliance at this point. I know it's kind of an integral position and he's moving on to bigger and better things, but he has graced us with his presence today. Molly unfortunately had a family conflict. So Khalil, how long have you been with the company now? It seems like you've been longer than I have, but I know that's impossible.
Not as long as you, Dave. About 9.5 years, going on 10. Time has absolutely flown by, and it's been great working with the Alliance and work with Fran and trying to get some things done. We're in uncharted territory with this product, right? But we're doing something incredible, right? We're helping the ones that need the most, and I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish so far. So I look forward to continuing to support. I am in this position in the interim, but I'm not going far. Once I do peel off, I'll still be around for questions and all that good stuff. So nice to meet everyone.
Yeah, and I will say that the Alliance meetings have definitely had a different tone since you've taken over. They've been very positive. So and there may be other reasons for that, but appreciate you stepping in and doing what you're doing. So and Khalil will be actually delivering the presentation from our side today.
Yep, I will be.
Well, great. Really do appreciate you being able to fill in. So with that, we'll move into the next item. Your minutes were sent out prior to this meeting. So I will give one more minute to review them and then take a motion to accept them if there are no changes. All right, is there a motion to approve them as presented?
Yeah, this is Joe. I motion to approve the minutes as presented.
All right, I've got a motion. Is there a second? I will go ahead and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we will move into our director's report. So Fran.
Thank you, Grant. Really, I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on a couple of visits that we've had over the summer, and actually had two in person, socially safely distanced, but it was really my first after a year. It was I was let out to go visit, and I'm proud to say one of my first visits was with Joe Baxter over at Arkansas Rehabilitation Services, and we had just a delightful visit, and he and some other folks kind of gave me the USA Today version of what they do over there, and he took me around and introduced me to some of the staff, and I was able to kind of tour some of the assessment areas, and so it was really a nice visit, and made me I just left there really excited about our partnership. So thank you, Joe, for that. That was nice. Then in July, we also had actually two meetings with the same group. It's a group called the Elizabeth Richardson Center, and they are one of the largest providers of disability services in Northwest Arkansas, and they've been around like since the 60s, and they work with both children and older adults with disabilities. And we had one meeting with an individual there, and then he wanted other people to hear the message, so we went back and basically gave the same presentation again. And they were particularly interested for their adult clients, the able to work provision because they do help with transition services and help the more independent clients that they work with have employment. So that was a very important feature to them. And then they also have clients who receive benefits or family money on a regular basis. And so the idea of being able to save in an ABLE plan without hitting that $2,000 threshold was particularly interesting to them. So I really feel like we made, and Chris was an integral part of both of those presentations. And I think we made some really good progress with continuing to get the word out. Along those same lines, we met with, later in July, an individual, Steve Verdi, who's with Independent Case Management, and they too work with adults trying to provide support services to make them more independent. And we're also going to do a follow-up with them. We're trying to get in to talk to their HR folks about doing maybe a 529, but that's a different meeting. But what was real interesting is Steve told us about a program at Pulaski Tech, which is now part of the University of Arkansas system, that's called 3D. And it is the D's, I had to look it up, defining, I can't read my hand, defining dimensions of diversity. And it is a post-secondary education training program there at the college or at the technical university, where they teach life skills and career skills, particularly in the areas of hospitality and culinary arts. And so the students get a certificate, they try to do, job placement. So it is a really exciting program. There are other programs like this at some of the other universities, but this one is a little bit more, it has more federal funding than some of the others. But so Steve's going to put us in touch with the director out there, because I think that would be a really good relationship for us to foster as well. And then the last meeting I was going to mention was in August. We kind of tripped upon being able to present at a virtual rounds meeting at Arkansas Children's Hospital. And these are like monthly meetings that people, drop in. There so many are required. And there were about 20 employees. There were counselors, nurses, doctors, and other employees. And it was a really interesting, it was probably one of those that we had more discussion than it was just a straight up presentation. And Chris, I don't know if you remember this, but as is customary, especially at a lot of children's hospitals, when a child becomes ill, the parents want to set up, or somebody in the family or a friend wants to set up a GoFundMe page. And so the counselors that were on our call were particularly interested in, well, how could we divert people, okay, you have the GoFundMe page, but if you set up like an ABLE account to where people could contribute into the ABLE account, there would be more benefits than the GoFundMe. So it was just encouraging to hear that they were kind of thinking about how to make it, applicable to the clients that they serve. So we ended up getting a request to drop off a number of brochures for their social work department, because they're the ones that are the front line with the families when they're given a diagnosis about their child. So just, that's kind of the strategy that we're continuing to use, is trying to connect with the people who work directly with the people that need to get the message. So, so that's kind of the highlight of our report. Any questions or? Okay. The only other thing I was going to mention is that we are going to be working on, Stacy and I've had a couple of meetings, and Grant and I've had a few conversations about trying to develop some video testimonials from folks who are using or want to enroll their child in the ABLE plan. And so we have a couple of people in mind But, with COVID and other things getting in the way, we've just kind of held back from reaching out to a few folks. So hopefully here we'll be able to get something going, and then depending on how those kind of turn out, we'll look to see, well, is this something we want to push out to the media? Is this something we want to put on our website? So we're just trying to let that happen organically. And that's all I've got.
Awesome. Any questions?
Not a question, but Fran, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time. ARS has a partnership they're developing with School for the Deaf, Arkansas School for the Deaf. And
Yes,
the first
yes.
event that we're going to do is October 8th. I think I did mention this to you. But
I don't-
October 8th from 10 to 1 p.m. And I'll have more details later, but it's a job and resource fair. And I think y'all would be great as a resource for that community.
And I remember, Joe, you brought that up, but I think at the time you weren't certain if it was still going to happen. I mean, I remember the discussion about it, but
Yes, it's firmed up now. We have permission from Secretary Key and Secretary Preston to go ahead and move forward. So
Okay.
I'll get you some more details here.
Yes,
as soon as I can.
if you would, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, so we will roll right into our program report. So Khalil.
Excellent. Let me share my screen here. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, I'll begin with providing a few project updates before we jump into the program metrics. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to jump in. So on our radar for the next 4 months of the year, probably the biggest lift for us is going to be the Michigan plan conversion. Michigan was voted into the Alliance a few months ago, so we're going to convert that plan into the Alliance on December 10th. And that date has been committed to by all parties. So we have a regular meeting cadence established with Michigan partners TSA and FPS, who's been great so far. And we're just working through all the details. So as we kind of progress through that process, we'll make sure we let the members know, and all roads lead to December 10th on that conversion date. So more to come there. Fifth Third, we just finished a nightly feed update in which we are identifying either paper or electronic enrollment. This was a requirement on the Fifth Third end to be able to send out the program description to the paper audience of anyone that's participating in that checking option, just as an extra level of compliance on their end. So that work on our end is complete. We passed the test file over the Fifth Third, and now we're just waiting for a response, but we'll be able to get that in place hopefully by the end of September. We're adding a How Did You Hear addition there. Is going to add a Special Olympics to the menu option. That went live on the 26th. So you'll see that available on next month's reporting, but we thought that was a nice addition to that section to kind of highlight that event for How Did You Hear? And then the last item is working through the new regulations, right? So the first kind of step we're taking is implementing a new enrollment flow. And really we're looking to make this enrollment flow responsive. We're going to create a whole new design. We're going to be able to accommodate states that are, able to implement the full hierarchy and self-certification completely with no documentation, all the way to states that, may need to require documentation for, 1 or 2 people in the hierarchy. So it's very complex. I probably explained it, at a high level, and it sounds pretty simple, but on the back end, it's going to be some fairly complex functionality. And we're also going to be looking to redesign the front end. So the look and feel is going to be compatible, right, with the new functionality that we're going to be building out. So we're excited about it. We'll keep everybody posted on progress, and more to come there as well. Any questions on any of the projects we're working on? So we'll start off here, slide 2, total assets by month. So this is really just an overview of the plan assets by month since the top of the year, January 1st. You can see here a nice growth just from the line, but from a percentage perspective, we're looking at assets at 44.1% growth as of the end of July. And as of yesterday, your AUM was a little over 2.5 million, which really represents a 50% increase since the top of the year, right? So it's been tremendous growth. You know, the market's been really strong. That obviously attributes to it, but it's really contributions and plan participation that's probably the main driver there. Assets by investment option here on slide 3. As you'll be able to see, 38% of your assets are in the moderate option. It's clearly the favorite option, right? You know, 400,000 above any other option there. I think across some other plans, you might see more assets in the checking option. So it's interesting to see that moderate option being, you know, the front runner, but it's really nothing. One's not better than the other, right? It's just an option there that people like, and it's 30%. So that was an interesting fact that I pulled out of there. Contributions by month. I want to call your attention right here to April. We've seen this spike across the organization, and the real common denominator on that month is that's when the stimulus checks were distributed, right? So we're assuming that the stimulus checks had something to do with that spike in April in contributions. People probably took that money and put it into the plans that they're investing in, and you know, we were able to benefit from that effort, right? So April overall was just a really strong month across the board for our different products. Contributions by type. Check contributions. So 61.13% of your account owners are sending in a check. I thought this was interesting because 68% of your enrollments are done online, right? And only 32% are being completed by paper. So from that metric, you would think you'd see electronic contributions coming in a little bit higher, but it looks like checks are coming in. Either way, you know, a contribution is a contribution. We're glad that people are participating, but I just thought that was an interesting kind of contrast, right? From the enrollment method to the contribution method, it's almost opposite. But again, really strong growth, really across the board in every category. Good adoption there. New accounts, nothing really exciting. I didn't really pull anything off of the slide that really stood out. It's pretty consistent month over month. We've enrolled 143 new accounts since top of the year. So good participation overall. Accounts by disability type, 30% of assets are under the developmental disorders. This is actually pretty consistent on what I see in some other plans, that kind of being the most disability type being the highest, right, as far as from an asset perspective. But overall, it's a pretty good kind of mix across the different disability types in general, which is consistent what I see in some other plans as well. And accounts by eligibility and custodian type, I thought this was pretty interesting. Supplemental security income for total assets, you know, a good amount above the other eligibility types. But what I thought was pretty interesting is the custodian type, right? This will play into the new regulations, right, and how you're adopting the hierarchy and self-certification here. Parent guardian has opened the most accounts and has the most assets. So when we implement the new enrollment flow, right, and specifically around the hierarchy and self-certification, it's going to make it easier for this subset to enroll and participate, which is a good thing. So I thought this was a pretty interesting metric, and it's gonna really, I think, continue to grow as we implement the new design and functionality that we have rolling out soon. Account closures, again, nothing really earth-shattering here. It looks like inactive accounts, right? That's probably the number one time or the number one reason that we close an account. Someone will open an account, never fund it, never have any interaction with it, and it will be closed after a certain period. So that's probably the most consistent that we see across the board for our April products. And then the last slide here, how did you hear? This is the place where you're going to see the new category for Special Olympics. So we're excited to get that added. And I think this is an interesting slide because it really kind of gives you a sense of kind of how are people hearing about the plan? You know, Fran, your efforts out there, you know, partnering with different organizations and going to different events, that absolutely plays a part. But you'll see that not specified is you know, sometimes these questions, people will just fill out anything, right? So it's not, you can't completely rely on it. But I think the more we can think about maybe different options that we want to add, or if there's something that we're finding at, you know, out in the field or wherever, if there's something else we can add to this list that will allow people to properly identify exactly how they heard about the plan, please let us know. You know, we're always open to new ideas from that perspective. So overall, your plan is doing great. Good participation, contribution rates, good growth. Again, the market has been strong, so that helps us as well. And it's been a great 2021 so far. So that concludes yes.
Can I suggest this? And I don't see it on here, but social media is always something that I would be interested to see.
Okay.
As how people heard of the plan. Nothing earth-shattering, but.
No, that's a really good one, especially today's day and age, right? That may be our number one. We don't know. So that's a good suggestion. I will definitely bring this back to the team. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments, suggestions?
All right, thank you very much.
I'll pass it back over. Thank you. Let me stop sharing my screen here. All right, perfect. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. And with that, we are in the new business section of the agenda. Are there any other items for consideration for the board? Any new business that needs to be brought before the board? Okay, seeing none, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Joe, I move to adjourn.
All right, I will second it. All of the, everybody can just kind of get up and go at this point, we'll say that. But no, I really do appreciate everybody taking the time to participate today. This is some great stuff, exciting stuff. And hopefully we'll keep those numbers growing, and especially on the new account and new contributions. I think that's really good stuff to see. Again, thank you all very much and hope you have a good rest of the day.
Real quick, our next meeting tentatively, we're looking at November 16th at 1 o'clock. So we'll send out an email to gauge everyone's availability, but that's tentatively what we're looking at right now.
Okay, appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Joe, send me your information.
I will.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.